I don't want to just create a space where it's just something that is looking nice, but it needs to be functional. It needs to tell a story. Sometimes you tend to question yourself.
Right.
And I think within the past 2 years or so, because it has never been a linear line. As you grow older, sometimes it's easier to deviate into different money making businesses. But sometimes the hardest thing is to stay consistent. It's all about being true to yourself and what you put out there. I think you need to be authentic about what you like, how you want to express it. Yeah, I think if you can keep that consistency going, something original can come out of it. I try to maintain the same language. So you go to my portfolio, I want someone to be able to say, okay, this is Sharon's work. I like to have that kind of storytelling, I would say, and be unique and authentic for anyone to be able to look and say, this is her work. Make time to do what you love, even if it's just 1 hour. I'm sure anyone can push in that 1 hour for one day, because that's the only way you could feel, you could enjoy life, and you could feel that life is giving you back something in return.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Creative Artist Podcast. My name is Sharon, and today is a very exciting day. We are starting the first episode of the series we're recording in Sri Lanka. I have Sharon with me, one of my good friends. I first met her when we were young, very young, and we recently reconnected while I'm in Sri Lanka. And what struck me about her is she's an interior designer, and what struck me about her is not just a talent but also her process. She doesn't treat interior design as decoration. Actually, she treats it like storytelling. That actually intrigued me in a cool way, and that's how I approach creativity in my own work. So her journey into interior design is very layered, unexpected, and actually very inspiring. So I think you would definitely love this conversation. Sharon, thank you for being here.
No problem. It's a pleasure to meet you after a very long time.
Very long time. So let's get to it.
Yes.
Can you tell us about a project where the story behind the space shifted the design completely, and where it surprised you or the client?
Yeah, actually, I have a very good example
Cool.
where at one point we had to design an apartment, and the client didn't really have a budget.
Oh, wow.
So we went all out. And at the end of the day, the client loved what we came up with, because at the end of the day, I don't want to just create a space where it's just something that is looking nice, but it needs to be functional. It needs to tell a story. And the final result was really happy to see the client's face, and how they respond to it, and how surprised they seem from what it was to what it is now.
Yeah.
And that was a very inspiring surprise, I would say.
So I'm curious. So if the client didn't have a budget, did they actually have a story or something that they wanted to say, or how did you figure that out?
Yes. So this particular client has been traveling around the world.
Okay.
So he wanted us to include something cultural, something Sri Lankan. So we went to a lot of Sri Lankan artisans, and we were able to source a lot of items from weaving to elements from Kandy, Anuradhapura. So there was this Sri Lankan touch that we were able to introduce into this interior. And the client was mind blown, because that exactly what he had in his mind, what he had envisioned as
Oh, yeah,
well. So the story behind it, to empower Sri Lankan women in the rural areas particularly, was something that we loved including in our interior. And it was a great success, I would say.
So what would you call that? The style. What would you define it as?
I wouldn't say it was completely modern or completely traditional, but somewhere in between. There was this twist that we were able to come up with in the middle of, in between traditional and modern. I came out really well.
That's awesome. Is boho kind of similar to like Sri Lankan style?
Well, I think a lot of Sri Lankans are now, inspired by the boho Bali style.
Yeah, because we had
So,
rattan already, right?
yes, exactly. So, there are places outside of Colombo we visit and source these items. So, a lot of rattan pendant lights, a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
bedside lamps that, really kind of add a cultural element. So, I'm glad like we are working around with all these materials.
That's super cool. So real quick, we were just talking before began, and you mentioned you were not actually in this path before, and
Yes.
I'm curious how you switched and what made you go there and that kind of thing. So tell me what you were doing before, and then
Yeah. So as a child, I think me and my sister and my brother, we always wanted to be part of art, dance, music. And although my dad is running an advertising company, and we were pushed to kind of head in that direction.
okay,
And I did CIM marketing at one point, and I figured that was not really my thing because I was always passionate about art, design, and interior design to create spaces. And that is where I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot, do my degree in interior, and I've been in the industry for the past 15 years or so.
dang, that's awesome. Um, so Sri Lanka has its own palette, right? The
Yeah.
colors of the tropics, the rhythm of daily life. How does that like kind of find its way into your work, even when a client might not notice it? And you also mentioned you were working in Dubai for a while, so I'm
Yes.
curious.
Yes. So I think when you talk about Sri Lanka, we are within reach. We could go to the oceans if we want to. We could travel to the hills, and it only takes a couple of hours, unlike other countries. So I think we have a lot of rich culture and tradition engaged, and we as designers we try to combine the spaces in Sri Lanka, maybe Gaul, Kandy, Anuradhapura, and we love to play with colors. We always like to add that pop of color. So we always go back to our culture, our spaces, and try to bring in some element of color into our
Because I mean,
interior.
you look at Spain and all these other
Yeah.
countries, like it's so iconic, right? The
Yes.
houses are multicolored, and
Yes.
like you have the umbrellas, like all
Yeah.
that kinds of stuff. So if you were to point out, I mean, we are going a little bit different path, but if you were to point that out, like,
Yeah.
what would you point and say, like, this is what Sri Lanka, like, iconic wise?
I would say, um, to me, what strikes out is the yaka mask,
Okay,
right? That
Yakamax is that's the mask they wear while doing like what do you call
the Candian
right,
Perahara's
right,
and
right.
whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there's so much of color that
That's
you can
true.
derive out of it. There are the reds, the yellows,
Browns and
the,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
browns, so vibrant. And that just quickly like pops up in my head. And yeah, we do try to use most of like, a little bit of pop. Um, we like to add a little bit of pop to our interior.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's like your go-to kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. So this is kind of interesting, but do you feel like your cultural backgrounds gives you a different lens compared to Western design schools of or firms?
Yes, so when I was in Dubai, we mostly played with a lot of neutral palette colors like beiges, browns, off whites. While I love that color palette, I think in Sri Lanka, or if we were to use a little bit of our culture, we can always go back to our traditions and look at how we can kind of incorporate the colors from different areas. For example, you take Gaul or the Trincomalee, we love our ocean. We could always,
What colors would you pull from Gaul, for
I would
example?
say like turquoise, blue, a little bit of green.
Okay.
Um, you know, there's so much to, I mean, we could go on forever in
Yeah.
terms of deriving culture and color palettes to our designs.
You're right. I never thought about that. Like how Sri Lanka has so many different interior design concepts in it.
Yes.
I never thought about that because I mean, in USA, you have to like if you're living in a coastal town, then all the houses are like coastal and the
Yes.
designs. But then if you're like living somewhere else, like California or something,
Yeah.
totally modern and that kind of thing. So it's super cool how like Sri Lanka, even though it's such a tiny island,
Exactly.
you have all these
Yes.
interior.
And the best part is they're just few hours away,
Right.
right?
Right, that is true.
Yeah.
Traffic might be a pain, but
Yes.
still, it's
But
part of the experience, right?
yes, yeah.
Um, let me see here. So, um, why storytelling? Like, why tell a story instead of just decorate something? Like you said, you were drawn to that, and I'm curious why. What about it was super interesting?
Yeah. I think a space shouldn't just look aesthetically pleasing or just functional. I think it's always important to have a story behind. And I would always speak to the client first. I would try to understand his way of living, his lifestyles, what kind of personality he is. And I always try to include that into my space. So I think it's always good to have a concept or a story so that the client feels at home and one with the space.
I'm curious. So, did you grow up in a space where it was something like that? Or
No, not really. But I remember when I walk into a space, in my head, I'm always wondering why can't this space be a little more aesthetic, a little more functional? You don't need to do like major structural changes. You could always, revamp it with a little bit of twist, and you don't need to spend much.
yeah,
So my eyes I could do the revamping in my head sometimes. I don't know if it's a good thing or a
I
bad
think
thing,
it's
but
good. We whimsy and imagination, right?
yeah.
It's almost like nowadays I just put on ChatGPT. I take a picture. So I was like, actually, I was renovating my studio in my house
Okay.
for the podcast, and I it took me a long time, but I like took pictures and put it on ChatGPT, and
Yes.
like I said all the things I had made, wood stuff, and
Yeah.
I did like a green backdrop, and it
Nice.
actually came out decent.
Really?
I folled the
Perks
ChatGPT.
of ChatGPT, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I could hire an interior design, I would definitely do it. But the budget was low.
We're so excited to share with you all the episodes that we filmed in Sri Lanka. We know a lot of you have been waiting, but we wanted to make sure that we did this really meaningfully because it really was an exciting time. When Sharon first came to me and said he was going to take the podcast to Sri Lanka, I honestly thought he was crazy.
And so did I. I was like, is there any possibility we can fit this in? I want to try to bring the podcast there and get to know people and interview creatives.
So we expected to have just a few conversations, maybe a little sparks of inspiration here and there, but what happened was so much deeper than that. We met so many people that not only you got to interview, but that also like came alongside us to help make these conversations happen.
The crazy thing was this daring idea of going to a country, even though I'm from Sri Lanka. I hadn't been back for like 7 years. And all I knew was some people from school that I went to and some on social media that I've been following, but didn't really have a concrete plan to make it happen. And some days we had 6-7 episodes back to back recorded because people were waiting and you were kind of facilitating that.
Yeah, so it felt really significant because not only was it that we were having like these raw and authentic conversations, but a lot of their stories resonated with Sharon's, and so it just was really fascinating to see them speaking the same language and to see like just this commonality of creativity and identity and purpose coming out as the themes of these conversations.
You must be wondering when this trip happened. It happened in September, and the goal was to get these episodes out by December or last year. Well, a lot of things happened, and I didn't want to diminish the work we put in, and again, the amazing guests that we've had. So we decided to do something really cool, and we're gonna post however many we can a week.
So linked in every single episode, you'll find a free PDF. It's actually a magazine that we developed. You can kind of think of it like if you go to a concert and you get like the souvenir of what happened behind the scenes and just about the different artists and all those things. We wanted to share with you not only about Sharon's journey, but then help you connect with some of the guests that we interview in Sri Lanka, and then invite you on your own creative odyssey.
Yes, there's so much more that goes into or that fuels this podcast, which is this mission to inspire people to create so that they can get to know themselves and connect with their inner child. So to see that we could bring that story out of Sri Lankan creatives, a wide, diverse range of creatives, was definitely a highlight.
Our hope is that whether you're living in the States, you're living in Sri Lanka, or somewhere else around the world, you'll connect with someone's story within Sri Lanka, and it might inspire you to continue on your own creative odyssey.
The link to the PDF, the magazine, is in the description, and please check it out. They're doing really cool things that I really think you should be checking out to see their journeys. So without further ado, let's get to the episode. So you describe yourself as both a dreamer and a maker. Can you tell us about a time when both of those were kind of the balance was tested, like when the vision was almost too big and then the constraints almost too tight?
Well, yeah, I think some of the clients, I'm not saying all of it, but many of the clients are very budget conscious here. So even though
There, you get the
yes. So even though as interior designers, we want to dream big, we have a huge vision in our head, we need to be able to understand the client's budgetary constraints and try to fit into that particular budget. So I would say design kind of, we need to kind of play it in our heads in a way that kind of suits his budget at the end of the day. So sometimes there are compromises we as designers need to make.
How does that process work for you?
All right. It's not a linear path, I would say, because sometimes it's always a challenge because dealing with suppliers are not very easy here. They don't really adhere to timelines. Sometimes we are in trouble. But most of the time, it's all about being diplomatical. And most of the clients are really nice, very accommodating. And they do understand the practicality of difficulty sometimes. Yeah.
That's got to be the hardest part of the job.
Yes.
Huh? So do you work alone or do you work with a team? Or how does it work?
So currently I'm working for a company based in Dubai. I'm working from Sri Lanka, so it's remote working.
Okay.
But when I do have the time, I do take up freelance projects. And sometimes I find it very, it's a great feeling to be able to design your own space from concept to the end and to see the space being done. And that's a very rewarding experience.
So since you have worked with other designers, how does that work? I mean, it's a bunch of creatives working together. Like, that sounds like a mess.
So most of the companies, we usually they hand over projects to an individual person.
Okay.
So that works well.
Oh,
so
okay.
we directly work with the client and we try to maintain a good rapport with the client. And most clients are very easy and professional and nice to work with. So in that way,
so you haven't been on a team where you have to put your ideas together and like.
So far, no. Thankfully.
Wow, you've been lucky.
Yes.
15 years.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Has there been a time where you realize this tiny detail, right, in the design plan is so important, and like you know the client doesn't see it, right? And for whatever reason, they're like pushing back on it, and you know that they're wrong. Tell me if there was a time like that, and like how hard was the fight? Did you win? Like, has there ever been something like that?
Yeah, many occasions. It's a good feeling to tell the client, I told you so.
But it doesn't go well, right?
Doesn't go well. But yeah, because interior design is all about the process
Yeah.
from spatial planning to concept development and the electricals, the furniture layout,
Yeah.
everything needs to go hand in hand. So if you don't have that coordination with all the suppliers at the same time, it could go real bad. So it all depends on how you coordinate and how you need to take that leadership and do the project coordination really well.
Tell me about a story. Like sometime that happened. You have a story?
Thankfully, most of them have gone well, except for the COVID times,
Okay.
where it was really tough because it was difficult to go manage the site to look to quality inspect because most sites did not let us go and there were constraints to enter the building. So
Right.
that was very challenging. But most of the other projects, I would say, have been smooth. And thankfully, the clients have been great to work with.
So then you whenever somebody asks who you are, you would immediately say you're an interior designer, right?
Yes.
How long did it take for you to kind of be like, okay, now I'm an interior designer, like, and what kind of made you get to that point?
Interesting question. Because although I've been in the industry for over 10 years, sometimes you tend to question yourself.
Right.
And I think probably within the past 2 years or so, because it has never been a linear line, I would say.
What do you
There
mean
are
by that?
a lot of challenges. Sometimes it's hard to be consistent in the industry because there are a lot of challenges that come your
I don't
way.
understand what that means. Consistent.
Depends. So depends on the suppliers. Most like as I told you,
So you're
it's
in the point of view of like completing a project.
I
It's
would say completing a project
okay.
from finances to supplier coordination. The right supplier means everything
Right.
because at the end of the day, the quality needs to be great, and I am a perfectionist in what I do. So I need all of it to, be at its best. So here I feel like it's a bit difficult and I don't like to compromise on quality. So sometimes where there are instances where the supplier will quote low in thinking, he could deliver a poor product.
Right.
And then sometimes we get in trouble because we need to deliver the best product. And there are times where, sometimes you could go on a loss where if you have underquoted. So it's very important to, at the quoting stage, you need to get the right people on board as you go on this journey.
So I mean, you probably watch like interior design shows like Joanna Gaines and like
Yes.
being a chef. I used to be a chef,
Yes,
so
I remember.
watching Food Network is very like stressful for me. I don't find any
Yeah.
relaxation. So same way. Are you able to watch interior design shows?
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? Designing or interior design is very subjective. It differs from person to
Yes.
person. Something you love, I may not like. So it's always a case of critique, why are you going with that color? Can't you use this finish and texture instead? So yeah, those kind of questions always go in
So
your
how do you
mind.
take those? How do you process that?
Well, I would try to take the good out of it, and then
You don't get offended at all.
I try not to.
Did it take it like? Did you have to try to like learn how not to do that?
Yeah, because sometimes I know, like, we need to respect the client, but sometimes if we think that this color may not be going well or this texture, I do voice it out. And thankfully, most of the clients, they respect you.
Yeah.
There are some clients, they just want to go haywire, and I'm not very proud of some of those
Right.
projects.
Oh wow. Yeah. That's got to be hard, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so you mentioned you are a perfectionist. So has that always been the case, like from a young age, or
No, I don't think so. I think this career made me become one.
no way? So it's almost like a requirement.
Yes. because I think it's very important when you're in this career. You need to have that sharp eye. You need to be able to see what others can't see. If it could look really good far, but when you come close, you could see all the how not linear they could be. So sometimes you need to be that perfectionist in order to excel in this career, I'd say.
Yeah. What if somebody says like perfectionism is bad?
I don't agree.
Fair enough. Straight and simple. Let's create a scenario, right?
Right.
No client.
Okay.
It's just you.
Yes.
So somebody gives you a budget and be like, Sharon, you can create this your dream space. How would that work?
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I think that's something any interior designer would be very happy to hear.
Yeah. So I want to understand the creative process. How would that work?
Yeah. So first of all, I think managing the space is vital. So we go through a spatial planning where we use AutoCAD as our tool
Okay.
to do the space layouts, because I think that is the most important first stage of the project. Then we go into concept development, where we select what kind of furniture, what the themes, the concept, are we going with a traditional modern twist, or is it going to be, just modern. So once we finalize the concept and the storytelling, then we create mood boards and with different colors, different textures, different finishes, giving the overall concept, the idea of the space. And then we go into 3D renders, where you could we take the exact measurements of the space and you add the design element to it, so you see the space as how it will look in real life.
Cool.
Then you go back to your 2D drawings, AutoCAD, and then start doing your furniture designs, elevations.
So you even like design furniture and then
Yes.
get them custom made?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's the most interesting part, I would say.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm into woodworking, and I was
Really?
So I did a woodworking business like a couple of years ago, and I paused it for a while. Furniture design is super interesting and
is.
intriguing.
It is.
Like I did like a modern not boho. Yeah, it's like a boho style like coffee table, but it's
Wow.
like shushugi burn. It's like the wood is burnt and you can see the
Right.
end grain of the wood.
Wow, okay.
So that was I wish I could do that for fun, just to
Yeah.
create. Every time I think about Sri Lanka and like I furniture, I think about the Hansi Putua, the reclining
Yes.
chair. That's got to be the most iconic thing I've ever
Yes.
seen. Is it going away?
Again, depends, because some of the clients just want a modern twist, so they know. But there are also these clients who want to like kind of include the traditional way of interior. So, for example, like they want to revamp their old house into like a Valawa. Then we bring in the antiques, the
Walau is
Hansi,
like a what do you call? How do you explain Walau in English?
the ancient house.
Yeah, like a traditional old Sri Lankan home.
Exactly.
Huh? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I wonder, like, is there some kind of initiative or movement in Sri Lanka among the designers to like either create new designs for Sri Lanka or like keep the old ones more prevalent? Hema, is there anything like that?
No, I wish we could. Maybe that's a great idea. I think we need to have something like that.
Yeah. Because I mean, I've been going to multiple friends' houses and different places, and I have yet to see a Hansiputua, this
Really?
reclining chair. I've seen the modern version of it, which is like a shorter one without the legs.
Yes.
But I've been trying to look for one so I can lie on it, because as a kid I used to do
I
that.
know, and that was the best
It was
in
the
the
best.
house. Yeah.
So now that we're talking about it, I kind of think like there should be something where you
Yeah.
guys should do where
Yes.
there's all this like iconic furniture. Especially I've been driving around and see all these like limo, which is what do you call
Timber factories.
timber factories.
Yeah.
and I see these little furnitures and things like that they're doing, and I
Yes.
don't know, they look super cool,
They are,
and they
especially.
use the rattan pattern. It's
Yes.
so cool. I
Yeah.
think that there could be this new, not new, but like a Sri Lanka's own
Yes.
like niche that
Yes.
can come out to the world,
Yeah.
like
I think that's a
boho.
great idea. I think we
Yeah,
need to initiate that kind of movement here together with
seriously.
all the interior
Yeah,
designers.
I
Yeah.
think that definitely you need to head that up and make that happen.
Think about it. Thank you.
um, so let me see. So you said you always a creative person, you and your family. Now that you look at creativity as an adult, how do you look at creativity? How does it differ from how you saw it as a kid to now? And not just from the interior designing perspective, but just like from your view.
I think it's all about being true to yourself and what you put out there. I think you need to be authentic about um, your what you like, how you want to express it, and yeah, I think if you can keep that consistency going, something original can come out of it.
Mm. So for you, I hear you saying consistency like a big thing for you. Well, why is that?
I think as you grow older, sometimes it's easier to deviate into different money making businesses. But sometimes the hardest thing is to stay consistent. But I
Right.
would recommend you to stay consistent. It's all about practice, it's all about repeating the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
That's how you excel and gain that experience. And that's what I've seen. And I'm so glad that I was consistent and I held on to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, being
So
consistent is the key, I would say.
from the perspective of like young Sri Lankans, right? Like young kids or whatever. Um, I mean, I know growing up, the culture was like you don't want to do creative stuff.
Yes.
Do tell me more. So first of all, explain to the viewers what that culture was like, and then how did you manage to be a creative in that environment? I'm super curious.
Yeah, so thankfully, my dad was a big inspiration. He would always push me, my sister, and my brother to do whatever you like. So, for example, I went in the interior design path. My brother explored branding. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
I love the designs he comes up with. He's very
Yes,
original.
great
He
eye.
would do
Yeah.
the sketches and the real deal. My sister studied fashion design. She's into fashion marketing. So I think I would say I'm glad that my dad was open minded enough, because here now, I mean, back in the day, like you said, parents would ask you want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, go in that kind of direction. But thankful to my parents for pushing us to do whatever we wanted.
Interesting. Because I look at my experience, and my parents were the same,
Yeah.
but I let society affect me in a big way.
Yeah.
And that's why it took me a long time to figure out, oh no, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
I went to become a chef because I had no other option but to, and I was like, I'm not smart enough to do anything else. So I just went for it, which I was good at. And
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm not like regretting anything.
Yeah.
But I think about that a lot. And so you're saying your parents were a huge
Yes.
impact.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter to you what society was saying and
Thankfully, not. I think you need to kind of build that thick skin and kind of follow your passion and dreams. And I'm glad I did that.
so fast forward to now, and young kids looking at this, maybe what would you have to say? And also explain the society now, if you can. And then
Yeah, I think the society now is more open minded. They've opened their eyes into truly following your dream, to follow your passion. Because at the end of the day, you could only keep doing what you love and excel in what you do is if you have that deep passion.
right,
And so I would say follow your dreams, follow your heart. Of course, do your initial education, get the foundation
right.
then go conquer the world.
So passionate people, and so it's interesting. So be passionate, also be consistent, right?
Yes.
sometimes this passion, it takes a while to figure out what your passion
Yes.
is. So it's super cool that you jump from marketing to this and you stuck with it. That's cool. But there are also stories of people not always following that, right?
Yes.
And it takes a path to figure that out. So what would you say to them, especially Gen Zs and younger than that?
I think most of the Gen Zs and the younger generation, they know what they want to do. Most of them. So I would encourage to explore now itself what you want to do, what you like to do, what you're good at. And once you figure that out, it's easier to follow that path.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's true. It is kind of refreshing to see that happening here. Even the way like people have like reacted to what I'm doing.
Yes.
I didn't expect to have a good reaction, to be honest. I thought it was going to be the same thing and this guy's crazy or something like that. But it's been super like refreshing to hear that people are still more open, more open now than what happened then since then to now. What is your opinion?
I would say there were challenges because, at the time, everyone looks up to like an accountant or a finance director or, going in the most
The conventional,
conventional, lucrative also, I would say. But again, I think once you are at it and you keep your consistency, the money will come, I would say. Like, don't think about the money. Think about what you're good at. Think about what you love to do.
Right.
And when you're authentic to yourself, the money will come.
That's cool. So how do you stay authentic to yourself?
That's a good question. I try to, so for example, when I design something, I try to maintain the same language. So you go to my portfolio, I want someone to be able to say, okay, this is Sharon's work. I like to have that kind of storytelling, I would say, and be unique and authentic for anyone to be able to look and say, this is her work. So I think it's always, as I said, consistency. Be consistent in what you do.
I mean, I'm curious. So be consistent in the sense. So do you allow any leeway for you to kind of be crazier in your design process?
Again, depends. Yes, all depends on what the client needs.
Yeah,
at the
so
end
your
of the
job is
day.
fully client focused.
Very much. But very rarely you get an occasion where the client also thinks out of the box. They want something quirky, and that's the opportunity to go right in and to delve in. So those opportunities are really cool, and I've really enjoyed working with some of the clients. But most of the time, I think it's a very linear direction. They know what they want, and we give them what they want. But I think the most rewarding space to be is to be able to have a combination of both.
Interesting. So if you were to like say design the world, right? Like nothing is, no interior design has been like part of the process. And if this whole client relationship, if you could take that out, how would that look like? You just like interior design's like, hey, this is what you need.
Well, that would look a little crazy looking from outside, but I would try to make it as functional and aesthetically pleasing as much as possible.
So you're telling me that like you can look at, like, let's say for me, right? Like you would get to know me and then you can just create a space then, right? Like exactly for me.
Yes. Then I think I would take time to get to know you as a person, to kind of understand your likes, your way of living, your social lifestyle. And then it's always important to bring that into your design process.
That almost feels like a personal invasion or something. When are you going to start your new TV show?
Thanks for the idea, Sharon.
Yo, do more things. So my audience are creatives, all kinds of people, right? If someone is sitting in their room right now feeling uninspired, what's the first storytelling element that they could add to shift the energy?
I would
Their
say
energy, yeah.
if you're in Sri Lanka, go to the woods, go to nature, like go to Yala, go to Gaul. So many places you can explore, or the beach. Um, Go find your inspiration from nature and apply it in your life.
You do that?
I love the beach. I try to go as much as I can. And it just makes you realize how small you are and how insignificant, all that's happening around the world. And I think the ocean is a place where you can derive a lot of inspiration,
Interesting.
from the calmness to the texture of the sand to the sound of the waves.
Almost like a meditation?
Yes, I would say
It's
it's
interesting you do
soothing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've shared this on the podcast before, but I'm into woodworking, and my favorite thing is to go sand and then make things, right? And I started off, I used to listen to music, but even that I stopped and I just have pure silence,
Yeah.
and I just sand away for hours and on. And like I find that I go on this journey, I learn something about myself on the end, and then I come back like much more healthier
Yes.
mentally,
For sure.
right? So that's
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So if they need inspiration, go to nature.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say it's a middle class child in Sri Lanka who has some kind of inclination to creativity and interior
Yeah.
design or whatever. Do you guys have mentor systems here where like, let's say a young girl is like, hey, can I like come like follow you around when you do your like interior designing work and that kind of stuff? Is there stuff like that like set up in here?
I don't think it's officially set up here, but I have a good example to talk to you about, where one of my friends who connected with me and said, "Hey, can I come around with you to go on site visits and client meetings?" Because she really had a passionate, she was very passionate about interior design,
Cool.
and she did join me on certain site visits, and now she's on her own. She has her own practice. I
No
see her
way.
doing lots and lots of residential projects.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't really have a system, but I think if they are interested, you could always talk to a senior interior designer, tag along, learn your way.
Is that like the reaching out to people like that? Is that kind of common in our culture? Like on
Not really.
right? That's what I thought. Right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, hierarchy is a big thing,
Yes.
right here.
Yes.
And I think one thing I love about USA and what at least the mental shift that I had to
Yes.
take, right?
Yeah.
I went from like, oh, they don't have time for me, that
Yes.
kind of thing, to like, oh no, let me just ask and see what happens, right? So that should be something that
Exactly.
people should encourage here,
Yes.
right?
Again, you need to take that initiative. I mean, it could work, it could not, it may not
Right,
work, but
but
you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah.
Just give it a shot.
The worst thing that could happen was like they'll be like, no, I'm not wasting time with you. They
Yes.
might hurt your feelings a little
Yeah.
bit, but then it's fine.
Yeah. You gave it a shot anyway.
Right. If someone listening walked into their living room tonight and wanted to make it speak more of their story, where would you tell them to start?
Interesting. I would say, like, find out what you truly want from the space. Is it just to watch a television, or just to sit and meditate? To understand what they really want and want to use the space for, and we will make that work.
It's interesting because when I was thinking about interior design, I've gone to a bunch of my friends' houses and other people's houses in Sri Lanka. And even the house I used to live, I realized when I walked into it, even though the nostalgia is there,
Yeah.
I would be like, why did my parents pick this color? Like all that
Yes.
kinds of stuff. So like I'm noticing a lack well, not everybody,
Yeah.
but a lack of like attention to those kinds of details to create their space to be more homier or more
Yes.
inspiring or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Part of me then thought like, oh, it's probably because of financial restraints or constraints or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But uh, well, what's the question I'm asking? Like, how can they change that? How can we like inspire a culture that puts more focus into their home to make it homey? Not to say spend
Yeah.
more money.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, what people need to realize is you don't need to have huge budgets to spend money. You could just change a color of the wall, a texture of the wall, and have like a feature wall, and that would make all the difference.
So how can we inspire people to like think like that? I guess the question is,
Um, I think,
especially in Sri Lanka.
yeah, because they're all very set in their
Right.
ways,
And a lot
and
of people are living in the same homes that they were born in, even
yes,
after they get married.
yes,
And I don't know, I sometimes sense a lot of like stress and tension when you walk into the house.
yes,
And I didn't want to say it to people, but like I could feel it.
yeah.
And then you could see the same tension and stress in the people living there. So,
Yeah.
so I wondered like how can people like you, interior designers, like change the culture if that was the case.
I think it all depends on if they want to do it, they can do it, and it's just a matter of changing the color of a
Clearly, they don't
wall.
want to. They're not
They
even
don't.
thinking about it. So the question
Exactly.
is how. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean it's an interesting question.
Something to think about.
Something to think about. Yeah.
Because I find like even in US, like even
Yeah.
my home, like it's not a big home or anything like that. But I think like by myself, I try to make it somewhat
Yeah.
decent, and then my wife comes in and completely changes it. And actually, it's more homier, and I
Yeah.
find it to be very, very homey. So, like, and I sometimes sit there by myself thinking like, I wish I thought of this like a long time ago.
Yes.
Like now, my space, and I guess my point is like I don't think people think here that like changing your room or space could
Yeah.
actually give you a little bit of calmness
True.
and inspiration and things like that, right?
Yeah, because psychologically it really helps you. I mean, you have a white wall. Sometimes a smaller space could look larger, and you have a dark wall, it gets claustrophobic and
Yeah.
looks smaller visually, and sometimes it messes with your mind as well. You know, you can't seem to think big. You're just very clustered, even in your mind. So it's very important, as you say. I mean,
Yeah.
if they could just change the color of the walls,
Right.
they would have more clarity of thinking and have better
Yeah.
solutions.
I'm almost like telling you to just like start telling people more.
Yeah. What a difference it would
Yeah. So, are you still creative in other ways? Like, what other things do you do, or just you just into design for?
make. Mostly interior design. Yeah.
Okay. You still like singing like?
Yeah. Recently, I was able to sing with a choir.
Oh right, I saw that.
Yeah, that was part of an Australian choir.
Yeah.
And they came on vacation. They came on a tour actually, and we were able to sing with them. So it was nice to sing with over 160
Wow.
people on stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love to sing. I love to dance. Whenever I have the time, I
Yeah.
do take it up.
So you do prioritize things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Why is that important to you?
Because I think it's always important to do what you love. And of course, you need to have the career
Yeah.
and life balance.
Yeah.
Make time to go to the gym, or if you want to run, if you want to work out. It's always important to have that balance and do the things you love, to make the time to do the things you love.
Yeah. Because I realize, especially here talking to people, like life is a bit hectic, traveling and going to work. By the time you come home, people just like, we don't want to do anything.
Yes.
But then you talk to the people who do run or do yoga or whatever, go to nature. It's an like actual like actual thought. It's intention. You have to put time into it.
You have to. It's all about priority, I would say.
Finally, I think for me, creativity is a way to heal. A creativity is a way to connect with myself, and it sounds like you do the same. And you and I kind of we've gone through life and different like challenges and things like that. Um, how how would you encourage somebody in a situation that they're like feeling very low and the lowest point of their life, right? Um, how would you encourage them to like take creativity as a way to heal from those things?
I would say try to find what you love to do. I mean, when you say creativity, there's so many things you can
Right.
do. What do you love to do deep down? And think about how you can do it. Even if you are doing a 9 to 5 job, you can always make an extra hour or work for that, the thing you're passionate about during your weekend. And don't kind of get into that box where you think you can't attain the unachievable, but make time to do what you love, even if it's just 1 hour. I'm sure anyone can push in that 1 hour for one day, and because that's the only way you could feel, um, you could enjoy life, and you could feel that life is giving you back something in return.
Right.
So find that out early, and I would say prioritize your time accordingly.
Because you can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also you should dream, right?
Yes, dream big. I would say dream
Yeah.
big, and go find that goal, that joy.
Yeah. That's it. Sharon, thank you so much for being on the pod.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm super excited.
It was lovely catching up.
Yes, we definitely did catch up on it.
Yes.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. And I want to encourage you to create. That's the whole point of the Creative Artist Podcast. So until next time, keep dreaming, keep being on your own creative odyssey. Take care. See you later.